Hey champions, this is Arian Tyson out of St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm just coming back at you to shoot a video on this very warm and beautiful Sunday here in the STL. I'm just leaving church and I'm heading home, and I really want to share what I just experienced. To say that my pastor went to a different level would be an understatement, a complete understatement. The message that he gave, the title of it was, "Who are you listening to?" And he told a story, true story, of something that happened to him recently, that not only did it make him happy, not only did it bring tears to his eyes, but it brought tears to the eyes of many people, including myself. By profession, he works at a rehabilitation facility, in addition to being my pastor. And so he was talking to a man who recently, well, since September of last year, has been paralyzed from the neck down. Broke his neck, and it affected his spine, and pretty much he has not had use of his arms or leg, anything, arms or legs, pretty much since September of last year. And so at his job, you know, he's one of his patients. And so he would come in and he would feed him and so on and so forth. Now, the guy knows that it's something different about my pastor. But the thing is, the guy is an atheist. The guy, you know, at the time, you know, the guy was an atheist. He did not believe in God. And he was one of those type of people that didn't want you talking to him about God. Now, for those that are watching this that do have faith, when you get around someone who is just that headstrong about not believing in God, it can make you feel a certain type of way. And so my pastor was no exception. He was no exception. He got to a point where he almost let his flesh conflict with what he's supposed to do as a man of faith. He almost got to the point where he refused to pray for the guy. But something told him to just pray for this guy. This happened on a Monday. So he prayed for him on a Monday. The very next day, he went to where the gentleman was at, and he found the gentleman smoking one of those electronic cigarettes with no help. If no one's in the room and you walk in and you see a guy smoking a cigarette who has been paralyzed from the neck down since September, that's an eye-opener. And so he was bringing him his food, and normally my pastor would, you know, he would cut up the food so he could feed it to him. So what he did this day, Tuesday, once he walked in and saw the guy smoking a cigarette, clearly meaning that he had use of his arms, of at least one of his arms. He had the range of motion of at least one of his arms to be able to smoke an electronic cigarette. He decided to just leave the plate because he believed by faith that this guy could now feed himself. This is the same guy that did not believe in God. This is the same guy that has had numerous conversations with my pastor saying that he doesn't believe in faith, he believes in facts. Well, the fact of the matter is this. This gentleman has been paralyzed since September of last year. And after a prayer, after experiencing the power of prayer from someone who is a person of faith and does not operate solely on facts, all of a sudden he was able to move his arms. So much so that he found himself smoking a cigarette and didn't even realize that he had use of his arms now. Sometimes you have to just really have faith and step out on faith and not worry about facts. And the question still remains, who are you listening to? Are you listening to people who solely operate on facts? They have to know all the facts before they make a decision. Or are you someone that's listening to people that are actually operating in faith in addition to facts? Because the fact is, their faith is really what has gotten them to where they are now. When you deal with people that are living in abundance, living in prosperity, living in, who are not arguing for the limitations that man has put on them, because here is the good news. The good news is this, and this is a true story for me. For the last 11 months, if I was to operate on facts alone, not only would I have not been able to travel to Miami, Florida in January, not only would I have not been able to go to Chicago, Illinois in May, not only would I have not been able to go to Memphis at the end of April, and not only would I not be going back to Memphis in just over 2 weeks if I was operating by solely facts. So to say, you can't tell me that faith don't matter. You can't tell me that you cannot have faith. You can't tell me that miracles still don't exist in 2014. You can't tell me that. But I challenge you, if you don't have faith now, you better get around people that have some faith. Because just like when you are someone who specializes in hanging around broke people, if you hang around broke people, 5 broke people, you are largely, the chances are that you will become the 6th broke person. But when you hang around people that have faith, when you hang around people that are operating in their purpose, who are living life with purpose, you won't be the same. And it is because of this man being connected to someone who has a strong faith in God, such as my pastor.